So moving on to Robic, and I'm allowed to just say his first name because I'm not very good at saying his last name, but Upadhayay, if I say it correctly, who is a social media activist and filmmaker hailing from Nepal. Robic, you are somebody who is also in several spaces, which is quite interesting. On the one hand, you are in a very sort of aesthetic space where you like to capture beautiful things and make photos and films about it. On the other hand, you have a very strong conscience for wanting to make things happen. And one day you got fed up with something, and you joined a campaign called Enough is Enough. Would you like to share your experiences?
So yeah, hi everybody. Hi. Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. I guess everybody can hear me properly. As Angie introduced me, I'm a photographer and filmmaker actually from Kathmandu, Nepal, and I've been doing visual storytelling works for development organizations and NGOs as such. So as she mentioned, I was one of the initiators of this Enough is Enough campaign, which took onto the streets as well as social media platforms to fight against the government incompetence in dealing with the current COVID-19 pandemic here in Nepal. So talking about the government here, we have a communist majority government, and latest update is we got some vaccines today by donated from India actually. So we'll talk about it some other day. Actually, I'd like to share my slide. So, yep.
It works.
I think.
Robic,
Yeah, sorry, I muted myself somehow. So yeah, about this Enough is Enough movement. So we, a bunch of friends, mostly from the creative community here in Nepal, started this. I can't see my started this Enough is Enough campaign.
Well, otherwise, maybe Anina can go and upload it.
No, I don't.
Okay, Robic, wait for a moment and we let Anina maybe upload it. Oh no, okay. Yeah, there we go. So you just tell her when she has to move on.
Yeah, all right.
Okay.
So yeah, about this Enough is Enough campaign. So we had so much of widespread corruption and incompetence on the part of the government, despite despite the suggestions by public health experts about how to deal with the pandemic and stuff. But the government was ignoring it altogether, and it was only engaged in power games and fighting among inter-party fighting and stuff. So after 3 months of lockdown, so that's quite a long time without any particular economic relief packages, for especially for the daily wage workers. Uh, so yeah, we were all fed up staying at homes, and we started with this campaign Enough is Enough on social media. So yeah, when we started it, we had like 10 or 15 of our friends when we started it, but it grew and grew, and it grew like to 100,000 group members in Facebook in a matter of week actually. So to that, also the government's when we organized our street protests for the first time near the prime minister's residence. So it though we had our peaceful protests, and we were physically distanced, we were maintaining health protocols to prevent the spread of COVID-19. So yeah, these are our principles. So we believe in non-violent movement, and we are very apolitical. We don't adhere to any political parties here, and we adhere to COVID related safety measures as well. So although we were just expressing our dissent on the streets, we were met with water cannons, and we were beaten charged by the police, and the police tried to suppress us. And the event was widely covered by the media news, and the movement grew bigger. So there were more people interested to join in the movement, so which explains that there was like widespread dissentment or dissatisfaction among the people against the government, or against, actually not against the government, but the government policies, health policies as such. So yeah, but it was quite an interesting experience. So I and most of my friends were not uh, very familiar with the street activism or even social media activism. We learned as we went along. So there was like, as the core group grew, it was also funny that we even didn't know each other personally. So when we met, it was like after the third protest when we met each other uh, physically. So we even didn't we had to introduce ourselves, because we always met in Zoom. So most of the times it was late in night, so our videos were switched off, and we even didn't recognize each other personally when we physically met for the first time. So that was like uh, quite an interesting uh, aspect of it. So we also made like animations, and we used all the digital media platforms that were available to raise people's interest and to get people moving to participate in the street protests or even online platforms for dissentment. So yeah, we use social media tools uh, to our benefit, so that we kind of encouraged people to join us. And also we had widespread press coverage, because we focused on aesthetics, like how to present the protests or the street protests in a better way. Like we had street dramas, we had musical performances, poetry recitations. Though we were protesting against the government, so we did it very creatively, so that the media picked it up, because it was very interesting visual content for them. So it was widely covered in the national and international medias, and we produced uh, merchandises as well to support our campaign financially. And we also besides the street activism, we also had our team of researchers who were looking after the government finances, or where did the actual money go, where the money is coming from, and where the corruption is. So we were doing quite a bit of research on that. So we were not like just going on the streets and like shouting, or taking names as such. So yeah, so this is like a short uh, video on one of our protests. 7 दिन भइसक्यो खाना नखाएर बसिरहेको हाम्रो लागि सरकारले हाम्रो कुरा नसुन्ने परिवर्तनको लागि आगो बनाउनु आफ्नो देशको लागि आगो बनाउनु तपाईँ कुनै एक ग्रुपको लागि आउनु भएको होइन तपाईँ सत्यताको लागि आउनु भएको समय कि पाछौ
छोपेर सत्यको आग्रह सुनिदेऊ हेर आँखा छोपेर के ठिक हुन्न बोलीले मात्रै समस्या जान्न देशवासीको बिचल्ली बरीलाई देशको सेवा गर्ने मौका सरकार तिमीले समाधान ल्याएको खै Enough is enough अब बढीलाई सत्याग्रह 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 हौ सत्याग्रह 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 हौ कोभिड-19 बढ्दोमा छ यो गाउँ सहरमा सल्कीमा सक्यो PCR टेस्टिङ किट अभाव किन क्वारेन्टाइनमा हेरचेक किन स्वास्थ्य कर्मीको मनुष्य खिन्न जिम्मेवार बन्नलाई ढिलाइ किन चाहिँदो व्यवस्था मिलाको तिमीले खै Enough is enough अब बढीलाई सत्याग्रह 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 हौ सत्याग्रह 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 हौ
यो क्वारेन्टाइन हो कि मान्छे मार्ने कन्सन्ट्रेसन क्याम्प हो हामीलाई यसको जवाफ पाइन्छ
देशवासीको बिचल्ली बढीलाई देशको सेवा गर्ने मौका सरकार तिमीले समाधान ल्याएको खै Enough is enough अब बढीलाई सत्याग्रह 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 हौ सत्याग्रह 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 हौ
So yeah, this video kind of encapsulates what our movement was about. So if you're wondering what Satyagraha means, Satyagraha is a kind of civil disobedience movement, as a non-violent movement also made famous by Mahatma Gandhi. From Mahatma Gandhi while he was protesting or fighting against the British colony back in India. So it's mostly like so for Satyagraha, we had our friends who were on hunger strike without food and water, sitting at a town square for like for more than 20 days. In a few of them, so their health condition worsened and they had to be taken to the hospital. So that's a different story. And yeah, about the
Robic, if you could come close so we can have some Q&As as well.
All right, I'll just wrap it up. So these are like the first picture shows how protest used to happen here in Nepal before we did, and the second one is from Enough is Enough campaign. So yeah, that's almost it. So I would like to end my presentation with a quote from with a song from Bob Dylan. Actually, I guess you are many of you have heard this song. So according to what this means, the answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. What it means is the answer is to be thought about and discussed, not decided and resolved. So I think with that, I would like to end my presentation. Thank you.